Morning, John.
Morning. How you doing, Mike?
Well, if I'm answer honestly, I'm exhausted. This is our go time of year. I try not to work 7 days a week, but
Sure.
it's close.
Sure.
So I guess, to be honest with you, pretty tired this morning. And then we had the showcase at the high school here that we set up for just.
Sure. So
Little
you
bit
work
ago, so-
you work housing, so this is probably your busier time of year.
Yeah. Most sellers will wait all winter, and then list in the spring because they are under the impression that's the best time of year to list. Which there's some arguments for that, and
Sure.
so yeah, everybody's calling right now to list, and it's a lot of work. But
Sounds good. So I'm not the biggest coffee drinker, but this is pretty good. So I'm going to give out a
so John. You're a local Pelican guy, aren't you? I mean, I've seen you
Yes.
around. I've seen you in the newspaper with the school board, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I grew up in Pelican Rapids about 34 years ago. Graduated here. I believe you
So what
graduated.
year was that?
1991.
Okay.
So you're probably right behind me, right?
Yeah, right behind you. No, yeah, 2001, 10 years later. So, yep.
Yep. So I've generally lived here my entire life.
Okay.
Started a career in law enforcement a few years after
that's right. I knew
high
that.
school, and I remained
Yeah.
in the area here in law enforcement. So I just finished 30 years in law enforcement with the county.
Okay.
And I still remain here. I'm involved, like you said, with the local school board here. Been on that 17 years.
You said you finished with law enforcement? Did I hear you
I
right?
just completed
It's
30
loud in
years.
here. Okay.
We got 3 years left. So,
I got you.
yep.
So, if I remember right, investigator now?
Yep. Investigator with the sheriff's office. Yep.
Okay. Yep. I remember that.
Yep.
It's coming back to me. So, if I could be so bold to say your superpower is listening.
It would be
Or-
one of those, yes.
Right? So, like, silence is your biggest asset, I suppose, right? Because you're
Listening is-
asking
yes.
questions, and
You're-
then letting people talk,
Yes.
and then you're diagnosing
Yes.
different cases. And okay,
Listening is it's important. A lot of people just want to be heard, and yes, by listening, you hear their voices.
yeah,
It helps with your career. It helps, professionally, everything. So
So you got 3 years left. What happens after 3 years?
then I'll hit retirement age,
Yeah.
and then I'll find another career.
Okay. Have any inklings?
I've got a few things in mind, but
Yeah.
I will wait till it gets a little bit closer before I see how I feel about them.
Sure.
So
So you were a deputy here in Otter Tail County and then worked up the ranks to sergeant and lieutenant.
So
and-
2 of those years I started here as a local officer for the Pelican Rapids Police
Oh, you
Department.
did?
Yep.
Okay.
And actually the building we're sitting in, this used to be our office right where we're sitting.
Huh. I don't remember
And
that.
I thought the building was bigger than it shows here,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they've done a nice job with this.
Yeah, very good.
So yeah,
So a golf in your future, or what are you going to do after 3 years?
if you give me some lessons,
Yeah.
how about you?
Oh, geez.
You were away from the community for a while.
Yeah. There definitely is some magnetism, I suppose. No place like home, right?
Yeah, and you do see that quite a bit with some of those that move away, some that can't wait to move away, and eventually they
Yeah.
start to get back to their roots. At least that's what I've seen in other classes, including some of my classmates that are back in the area.
Yeah, sure.
So some of it has to do with are their kids school age? Do they want to get them out of a bigger city into a rural setting?
Yeah.
So you see some of that. Otherwise, some of them are empty nesters and they end up kind of gravitating back here. So
Yeah, I'm certainly glad I did. I've lived a lot of places, and I think growing up here, I don't think we realized how good we had it.
yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we're in tourist country. They're in vacation land.
Yes.
Yeah, the landscape is pretty special. Yeah,
So did you move away right after school?
I did. I was off to the races seeking all the worldly things as fast as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we had talked earlier. You were also in law enforcement for a period of time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Boy, a lot of things happened before that.
Okay.
Immediately preceding law enforcement, I had gotten a degree at Dallas Theological Seminary and went into the ministry for a little while.
Sure.
And I've got some family in law enforcement who's also a chaplain and does ministry as well. And so he kind of inspired me to, get out of pastoral work and into a little bit more hands-on. How do you say? Just civil service pastoral work.
Sure.
On the side of the interstate. So
Okay.
So that was a good venture. I enjoyed it. But long term, I could tell pretty early on that wasn't going to be something I wanted to do the rest of my life. Primarily because I got a big family. So we got 5 kids, and mom stays at home. We homeschool, and
Okay.
it was really hard to pay the bills, frankly, at a state trooper salary, and working nights, that really steals a lot of family time. So
It does.
It was hard. It was hard on the family, and I just had to. And we were out in western Nebraska, so
Okay.
it was not like here.
Yeah.
It's
pretty rural and flat, and
it's just a different place, right? And
Sure. Yep.
I really missed the beauty of Otter Tail County landscape and seasons and all the stuff, fishing, hunting.
Okay.
Syruping. I mean, just there's so much to do here. So
Yeah, you were just saying that you were surfing, so. And it is that time of year for surfing.
Yep, it is. Yeah, it's a sweet time of year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, and like you're saying, for shift, like law enforcement, shift work, it's tough on a family, especially when you're working overnights.
Yeah.
And
It is.
I've seen a lot of my partners over the years raising their families that it's a trade-off with who's got the kids when, and a lot of them are tired. And so.
And it's legitimately life-threatening. I mean, it's especially where I was working the interstate, and most of it was drug interdiction and working big wrecks, and so it was like once a shift, kind of the hair on the back of your neck would stand up, and you'd wonder, all right, how are we getting through this one?
Yep.
And you do, and you go home and you pretend like nothing happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does change a person. You come into the profession, and maybe it's the same for you. You come in with all these ideals and kind of happy, smiley about everything, and you do see some things where it does change you and how you think and how your trust level sometimes. And we're very fortunate around here. We have people that support us, and we have a supportive community and county, and this whole area is too. And I work for a fantastic department.
Sure.
They invest in us.
But you've stayed the course for a few decades now.
I did.
And
some of that has to do with my pension, but yes.
So how have you seen, just the job change?
The types of calls we get from when I first started out, you had a little more property crimes, some of the personal crimes. Equipment was a lot more rudimentary back in those days versus the equipment, how it's evolved over the years now, like technology, the quality of equipment, quality of squad cars. The types of calls have changed now. We get a lot of more mental health calls. Obviously, whatever every one of us has in our pocket, like a cell phone, computers changed the way it seems like the world operates, and we get a lot more of those kind of calls with harassment, cybercrime, scams, you name it. It's kind of forced us to change on how we deal things. So, and part of my responsibilities with the sheriff's office is electronic crimes, digital crimes. So I've gone to a lot of training. We kind of operate our own digital forensics lab here in the county, which many counties and jurisdictions around us do not have. So we're pretty fortunate there. The county's invested in us. So, but so a lot of changes.
Yeah. Are you a family man?
Got no family, no wife, no kids.
Okay.
So
That makes the job a little more palatable. Yeah, for sure.
And even in my role at the school board, I've been on 17 years. Really don't have much of a dog in the fight, except I just want to see my school succeed in the community I grew up in. So,
well, thanks for your service. I do mean that. It's a hard job.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you're there. I'm glad you're there. So that's great.
What do you see coming down the road for, I guess, real estate?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Tough question.
No, I don't know if it's a tough question. It's just highly varied answers. Yeah, we still see nationwide, I guess what we would call a housing crisis, but it's a crisis of affordability.
Sure.
So many people are getting priced out of quality housing. And there's a lot of reasons why that an economics professor could speak to more clearly than I can.
Yeah.
But, so I guess that's a burden, actually a personal burden of mine, is to problem solve here locally as best I can, and then leverage all the things at my disposal to create housing that is a little bit more affordable than what it's been traditionally here in the last few years. So, but that's hard. That's a really hard puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll be able to, frankly, but I'm sure
appreciate you trying.
Making an attempt. Like for example, like just because I'm in real estate sales, I can leverage myself in this sales transactions and marketing and all the things. But now we're acquiring a big construction company, and so then hopefully I can leverage that to some degree.
Okay.
Right, and then using the word leverage further, we can leverage local community grant opportunities. City and county grant opportunities, trying to leverage those, leverage lending, try to link arms with somebody in the future who's, shares a collective vision that, I guess I'm not a penny pincher, right? And I need other people alongside me who aren't worried about their bottom end or the bottom dollar. And that'll come. If you work hard and you hustle and you do good things and treat people right, you'll earn income. Don't worry about it.
There's definitely a need in this area for housing. We see it at the school. And I'm sure it affects even attracting industry or business into the community, what's available for housing. Why would you want to bring in a business that's going to employ, let's say, 15, 20 people when housing's a premium? And, I think that's
the
something.
Sticking point, and the thing that gets me, I don't know if soapbox is the right word or not, but we can spend all this marketing for the schools and just for the city at large and for businesses here, but when we draw people in, where do they go?
Correct.
Where do they hang their hat and where do they sleep at night?
Yep, exactly.
And if we don't have that, it's kind of money well lost.
Yep.
So
I agree. And, there were probably a few years in this community where it wasn't an emphasis, and other communities around us, it was more of an emphasis. And, and I know, I'm on the state board of directors for the School Board Association of Minnesota. And I think the common thing I hear around Minnesota is declining enrollment in most of these schools. A little bit will be about homeschooling, private schools, but the majority of it is the birth rates are down. People aren't having as many kids. Kids are expensive. And it's not unique to Pelican Rapids. I think we're going to see some birth rates probably slowly decline. And our biggest thing is, we need housing in the area to kind of level that off. And
interesting.
But it's not unique to us.
Sure.
Most districts around us are seeing some sort of decline. So,
how long have you served on that board?
For the state?
Yeah.
I'm on my 6th year, and I'll be termed out after this year. So,
is that a paid position? I'm just curious, or is it volunteer?
They pay per meeting, but it's largely Some of it's on your own, yes.
Yeah. I
So,
got
yeah.
you. Huh.
But
Do you live in town?
I live in town, yes.
Yeah, cool. I think you have to, I suppose, to be on the school board
In the school district, yeah.
or in the district.
And I built a home in 2007.
All right.
So
How did that go for you?
it went good. I think the economy at the time was starting to slow down quite a bit around those years.
Yep.
I don't know if that helped or hurt, but I think I got a pretty quality home for those days, and I'm kind of glad I built then and not necessarily now because of prices, but
It's really hard to build new construction now.
yes. And part of the issue was trying to find a suitable lot that I felt to build on. Back then it was, oh, here's an open lot, and then you kind of inquire a little bit about it, and it's kind of word of mouth was trying to find out where the lots were. You had lots scattered in old parts of town, and like I just kind of wanted to be in a semi-rural development, and that's where I'm at. So
yeah, we could use a little more buildable land adjacent Pelican for sure. And
it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily have to be in town so much. It is nice to have additions in town where help with the tax base when you get more houses, help my taxes out.
Sure.
But some parts of the area and other counties, you do see developments outside of town, and you're not necessarily stuck with city taxes so much, and city water, sewer, and curb and special assessments so much. But might be more palatable. But trying to find somebody who wants to develop land, you're probably more familiar with it than I do.
Well, if you catch wind of anything, I'm looking.
Okay.
Legitimately. Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, if there's an answer. I haven't found it yet, but.
And I know we've seen some apartments being developed, over the last few years here in town.
Yep.
What I've seen, it seems to be a little bit more of a mobile population in the apartments, obviously.
Sure. Yep.
But if we have something more stable like a house, I think that would help. And then we do have a number of staff at the school that do commute. Yeah. And if there's,
But I think the health and the vitality of a community is dependent on people living in the community, right? So if they are in town or in the community, then they, just by nature of being proximity, then they do things here, right? They don't.
Vested, you might have more volunteers in the volunteer pool, whether it's your civic organizations or fundraising organizations. It's more convenient.
Yeah.
But
have you ever served on city council?
I have not.
Are you gonna?
That's why I'm here. I'm going to run for mayor. No, I am not.
All right. This podcast is your launch into
Actually, I've been pretty happy on the school board situation. So
okay.
But
all right.
I got retirement coming up, so we'll see where I'm at in my life. But I got 3.5 years left with the school board, so
sure.
I'll stick it out till then. So
yeah, very good. So who's your boss right now?
Who's my boss?
Yeah.
For my professional life?
Yeah, professional life, yeah.
I'd be Sheriff Barry Fitzgibbons.
Okay, yeah. Okay, got it.
I don't know if you've met him or not. But
nope, haven't yet. Okay. Not yet. I'm sure I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I got no desire for his job. I got all the respect for what he does.
Yeah. So are you on call?
Sometimes I am. Yes,
Yep.
we're always subject to being called back.
Yeah, right.
If something's happening, and that does happen once in a while.
Yeah.
But we're pretty fortunate here. You still have some of the same things you see in a bigger city, but just not in the frequency.
Yeah.
But no, so you live rural?
Yep. Closer to Vergus, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't intended. I had no idea I was going to be opening a business in Pelican, actually. Just the Lord opened that door, and I was like, okay, I'll walk through that and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
And really glad we did. Yeah.
So what brought you back then? Or what was the...
Well, I knew I wanted to be
the kickstart
back in Minnesota, but it just happened to land, found the property that we wanted to raise the kids at up on Highway 17 by Burgess. And
Sure.
I was a realtor up in Detroit Lakes for 5 years. And then I don't know, I rubbed shoulders a little bit with Lauren Seifert in the past, just because he's in the industry I was in. And it was very organic. I don't really recall exactly how it came up. But we were just talking business, talking shop, so to speak. And it just kind of came up in passing that, hey, would you ever sell your building?
Sure.
And he said yes. So
Okay.
and
He's been doing a lot of years.
yeah, and so it's just good timing, and it worked out just fine. And really good sale there with Lauren, and
Good.
took down his shingle and put ours up, and never looked back. So,
Okay.
yeah, really glad we did. So I'm in town about
Glad
6 days a
you're
week
here.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember the days of several realtors in town, and I think back when Lake Homes were selling like hotcakes. I think all they had to do was shuffle paperwork, and
Sure. Yeah, it was a little simpler.
it might be a little different these days.
It is, yeah. Things have gotten, well, because of lawsuits, frankly, in our litigious society, now real estate transactions are really convoluted and complex and exhausting.
Yeah.
And so like a contract just a couple decades ago was 2 or 3 pages, and now I can have stuff that's 40, 50 pages long.
And it probably takes quite a while to get the transactions done. Or?
Yeah, it can. Yep. If we've got some complicating lending restrictions, yeah, it can take a really long time. Or if we have title issues,
Sure.
Geez, I just closed one that took us 7 months to close because of title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so everybody is a little more on edge and a little wary, and I sense in our society that people are I'm generalizing, of course, but people feel like everybody's out to get them, right?
Yeah.
And so by that sentiment, now we've got oodles and oodles of pages of contracts and all these different litigation protections that are in there, which I
Okay.
guess is good in the end. It's just
Sure.
clear communication takes a long time sometimes.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Customers got to feel good too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
But I enjoy that part of it. I guess the complexity of contract law and nuance, because it's not all black and white.
I suppose you work with title agencies and
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah, closers and lenders and appraisers
Okay.
and a lot of emotions.
Yeah. It's a big deal. Buying a home or property is a big deal.
Yeah,
At least
it
to a
is.
lot
Yep.
of us.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Mike,
yeah.
enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, right on.
So
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll see
good to
you.
learn more about you, John.
See you in the area.
Oh,
so.
we will.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.